A very good evening to you. Welcome to the West Ham Weekly on the West Ham Voice on a Monday night. My apologies for being a little tardy today, tardier than normal. But that's because Nick from Claret and Boo said, we're really sorry, we need to go on Monday night. And I went, oh, okay. But we agreed that they finish. I don't know if they're finishing or if they finished at 10 o'clock. And I said, I'll come on at 10 o'clock. So welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. I hope you've all had a really good weekend. It's been not bad, has it really? Considering that West Ham won our first game of the season. Really good performance. I'm going to talk about that briefly, but I've already done about 2 or 3 different shows regarding the game. But there's a lot of transfer news that I'm sure you've sort of been made aware of. But I've been having exchanging conversations with people to try and find out what the latest situation is. And, well, our transfer window could be coming to a halt if we do not move on any additional players. But I'm going to come to that all in a moment. Let's go into the chat and see who's here. Gary, good afternoon to you. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, I think, Gary. So we need to exchange messages and find out where we're meeting and so on. Everything is sorted. So looking forward to meeting you. Bernie, good evening to you. What's this story about the club stopping to coming into the stadium if you've not got an official West Ham shirt? Who is going to check? No one is. And a load of rubbish. I don't know where you've heard it from, Bernie. But who on earth is going to really try and work out? Hang on, mate. Can I just see your label? It's fake. Off you go. Ain't gonna happen. Good evening to you, Phil. How are you? And good night. Bit late. My apologies. You know, I'm not intending to come on at 10 o'clock every Monday night. Absolutely no way. I'll end up losing a whole load of viewers if I do. So sorry you're missing it, Phil. And I totally understand. Good evening to you, Steve. How are you? Galispera to you, mate. Blimey, did you put... I think I've just explained why I'm here late. Good evening, Chris. Galispera, mate. Evening to you as well, mate. Good evening to you, Foxes. I hope you're well. Daniela. Evening, all you lovely people. Don't forget, thank you very much. And be nice. We're always nice to each other here, aren't we? I hope we are anyway. I hope you're well, Daniela. The time didn't change. I hope you've understood, you know, why I'm on so late. And a good segue, Chris. Just want to say, rest in peace, Sven-Göran Eriksson, another great man taken too soon. He has indeed. My understanding is another one who's passed away to cancer. Eriksson, may he rest in peace, became the England manager between 2001 and 2006. He died at the age of 76. That's young these days, isn't it? England's first foreign coach. Oversaw over 66 matches for England. He presided over what we believe to have been the golden generation. And we can remember some memorable moments, can't we? You know, the qualifier against Greece when we qualified for the 2002 World Cup, Beckham's last-ditch free kick. Do you remember sitting there, biting your nails, going, can't possibly be? And then the amazing qualifier against Germany at their ground at the Munich Olympic Stadium when we smashed them 5-1. Do you remember that? And also, of course, Beckham's revenge in the World Cup when we beat Argentina 1-0. But I guess it was the Euros 2004 that was the competition that we kind of should have won. The summer of Rooney Mania. He was only 17 when he came into the England team, and we all thought it was our time, wasn't it? How many times did we think it's been our time? Rest in peace, Sven. You know, great man. He's had his controversies, but you tell me who hasn't. But we'll remember him with a lot of respect, I think. So rest in peace to Sven-Göran Eriksson. Who else have we got in here? Good evening to you, Mark. I hope you're well. Condolences to the family of Sven-Göran Eriksson, true legend. On time, usual. On time, because I was so late. I wouldn't want to miss out on 10 o'clock. Paul, good evening, mate. After 10 to 15 games, who do you think will be on fire other than Bowen? Kudus, I reckon, will be on fire other than Bowen. I know, you know, I don't like him playing out on the left. But as I said, I did a show on Sunday when I talked about the squad and how I think we're going to have an awful lot of rotation. And I think we'll find Kudus on the left, on the right, in the middle, etc. But I think he'll be on fire. And I reckon our big German, we've got a new song for him. It's not too difficult. Our big effing German, I reckon when he scores his first goal, he'll be on fire as well. And who else? I don't know. But certainly those players. And look at Kilman. I mean, everyone complaining about the £40 million we spent, but he's not bad. And let's be honest, Souček, he's already scored 2 goals and he's made 1 already. So no, he hasn't scored 2 goals. I'll take that back. He's scored 1 and he's made 1. Let's see. It's all looking good. But you're absolutely right there, Paul. We need 10 to 15 games to really know how it's all going. Dexter, evening to you. Hope you're back. It was good. Great win for us. Rest in peace, Sven. And his documentary is very moving. I haven't seen it, but I will make sure I do. Mark again. If we get 45 million from selling Ward-Prowse, we won't get anywhere near that. Oh, sorry. If we get 45 million from selling Ward-Prowse and Naef, then that's money that we can fund Soler and Abraham still. Forget Abraham's. I will come on to those in a moment, but you're absolutely right. If we get money for both of them, but I'll come to transfers in a moment because it's not looking good at this moment in time, to be honest with you. Howard, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Juha. I hope you're well as well. Good evening, Shaky. Bloody hell, on the button. I know, on the button. Well, I mean, I was out. I thought, you know what? I had the privilege of seeing my daughter. It's rare. I was phoned her up and I thought she was going to say, no, Dad, I'm busy. What are you up to? Nothing much. Do you want to go out? Yeah, let's. So I actually didn't get back here till about 9:15. But I thought cannot. If I'm doing a show at 10 o'clock, I've got to be on at 10 o'clock. So thank you all for joining me at this late hour. And if you're new to the channel, please do become a subscriber of the channel. Costs you nothing to do so. All the content is free. And if you like the content, there's a like button down there. Please do hit the like button as well. Aaron, good evening to you. I hope you're well. I thought it had. Well, thank you. Green Streets, good evening, mate. I hope you're well, Greg. Rest in peace, Sven. Good evening to you, Tony. I hope you're well. Good morning to you, Tony. I hope you're well. Good morning, John. Or good evening, John. Getting confused here. Hammerette, they have finished. Good. I hope it went well for them. Good evening to you, Black Country. I hope you're well. You are late, mate. Come on. Haven't you got to watch? Good evening, Edward. How are you, mate? You've just come from Claret and Booze. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Good evening to you, Keith. How are you, mate? Kalispera Filomu. Hola, kala. I hope you're well too, mate. Ralph, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Ronnie, how are you, mate? I hope you're good. I didn't see you. No, I did see you walking down the steps at the weekend at Palace, and then I didn't see you after that. You disappeared, mate. Who else have we got here? Good evening, Dexter. Funny knowledge, I made a cameo appearance on Match of the Day, taking a tumble. Oh, did you make that along with 1 or 2 others that I saw there? Glad the ball boy's okay. I hope you're okay. And so I'm glad he got looked after. Good evening, Mr. Hicks. How are you, John? Hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening, Andy. How are you? Good evening, Steve. I've already said good evening, Steve. Danny boy. Ryan is here. Mr. Osborne, how are you? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening, Espen. How are you, mate? Good evening, Drain Hole Hammers. What does drain hole mean? I mean, I know what a drain hole is, but good evening, drain hole. I hope you're well. Scott, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Listening while mowing the lawn. Mr. Evans, how are you? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Charles. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Right, let's get into it, okay? Because there's a lot of transfer stuff coming out at the moment. And I'm just going to give you a glimpse of what's going to happen. Basically, Soler is coming in, but only on the proviso that we actually move on more than Kurt Zouma. Because it's not so much freeing up space in the squad, because we have only got 24, because I'm not counting Kurt Zouma in the squad. And also our new player, Guilherme, is only 18 years of age. He doesn't have to be named in the senior squad. He can be named as part of the under-21s. He doesn't have to be named in the senior squad. So we do have a place available in order to bring in Soler, but it's more about the money and the wages above everything else. And we can't seem to shift any players at this moment in time. And that's causing an issue, because we can't proceed with a Soler deal if we don't sell any other players or move any other players on. But I'm going to talk all about that in just a moment. Good evening to you, Charles. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Lee. I hope you're well, mate. Mr. Bovell, how are you? Are we going to see you on Wednesday or maybe against Man City on Saturday? I hope so, mate. I haven't seen you face to face in person for ages. Matt, hello, mate. How are you? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Andrew. Forrest strongly interested in JWP. I know. Read that earlier. And funny that, because I said last week, in my show last week, I wonder if we start looking at players like James Ward-Prowse. And then in the show I did on Sunday, when I sort of observed which players were put on the subs bench and which players didn't even make it from the subs bench onto the pitch, all of a sudden you start looking at James Ward-Prowse and thinking, could be moving. He's interesting because he's still got a 3-year deal left and he's on 115k a week, which I didn't know about. You know, one of the highest paid players at the club. And if Nottingham Forest seem to be hoovering up anyone, if they do come in and buy him, then that's a lot of money to be recouped in wages. 115 grand a week in wages, along with Kurt Zouma's 100 grand a week. There's your 215 grand a week that we can save. We're not going to get a penny for Zouma, but with regards to Ward-Prowse, we won't make the money that we paid for him, 30 million, no way, 29 years of age, etc. But if we get 20 to 25 million, give or take, I think we'll take that, because that will pay for the Soler deal, and it will also pay his wages. He's on around 75 to 80,000 pound a week in wages at PSG. Good evening, Apache. How are you? Good evening to you, Darren. I hope you're well, mate. Got you. Thank you. Thank you, mate. Good evening to you, Mandy. How are you? I hope you're well. I'm very well. I hope you are too. Good evening to you, Claret and Stew. Mr. Laurie, how are you, mates? And good evening to you, Colin. It was a fantastic result at the weekend. And let me segue into that, because very quickly, because as I said, I've done match reviews already, did it straight after the game, and I did another one on Sunday, etc. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but let's see the starting lineup. I guess we were all very surprised, weren't we, when the starting lineup was announced, and we were like, it's the same starting lineup as the one against Aston Villa. We're going to lose. And I certainly thought that. I said last week after the Aston Villa game, if we play the same team, we'll lose. I admit it. I was completely wrong. But how many of us thought the same thing? But one or two players. People have said when I did my review on Sunday that I've done Soufal a disservice, because a lot of people suggested he played better than I said he did. He did all right. Let's be honest. He did okay. But when you saw Aaron Wan-Bissaka come on, you saw what we were missing. So Soufal, great backup. But that's it, really, isn't it? Unless you're going to tell me, or anyone's going to tell me, that he should be starting all the Premier League games from here on in. With the greatest of respect to him, a fantastic servant, but backup as he is. Mavropanos has done extremely well. I've said, alongside a very solid central defender, Mavropanos looks like a completely different player. And Kilman for 40 million. Let's hope he continues to play the way he did. I love the way he pulled the ball out, breaking into midfield, and that superb ball for Jared Bowen to run onto and score. Great vision. And this is what we want, isn't it? This is what Lopetegui likes. He wants his footballers to be footballers. It doesn't matter if you're a defender or if you're a midfielder. He wants you to be able to carry that ball and be confident with it. And he's talking about Lopetegui when he was at Wolves, and saying that Lopetegui's the one that gave him the confidence that made him a better player. And he's bringing that to West Ham. Really pleased. Emerson does what Emerson does. I thought he was quite solid again. I think Rodriguez has improved. He's picking up the pace of the Premier League, and I think he did really well. Paqueta, you could see he's getting match fit again, and he did extremely well as well. He had a nice few touches, etc. Jared Bowen, the same. Great goal. Fantastic goal that he scored. The much loved or not loved Thomas Souček, it doesn't matter what you think of him. He produces, and whilst he continues to produce, I'm guessing Lopetegui will select him. Now, Kudus. I mean, the ball sticks to this man, doesn't it? And it doesn't matter whether he plays on the left, right, on the middle. I mean, I don't like the fact that he plays out on the left, but it almost doesn't seem to matter to him, because he picks the ball up and off he goes. And then Antonio, a little bit like Soufal, in all honesty, probably our worst player on the pitch. But his endeavour is there. His endeavour is there. He tries. to deliver. But it's a little bit like Soufal, where when you see Fulkrug come on, all of a sudden you see a very different footballer, a striker who knows how a striker should move, and so on and so forth. Now, what was good about up front though, with Bowen, Antonio, and Kudus, is that they kept switching. In the first half, especially, 1 minute you found Kudus in the middle, you found Antonio out left, you found Bowen in the middle, you found Kudus out on the right. It's great because they continue to do that. It confuses defenses, which is good. The substitutions were made on 62 minutes, which I thought was good. Needed to change the game, and Wan-Bissaka, boom, straight away within 5 minutes. He was helping to create goals, etc., and that was great. When he got the ball, lobbed it over the player, took it, gave it to Bowen. Bowen drove it into the 18-yard box. There was a small melee, and then Soucek was there to clear up the mess and score a goal. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And you see Wan-Bissaka. He's good, isn't he? He's a good footballer, and he gives us something a little bit different. So I'm really pleased for him. And our big German, of course, up front, with the chance he had in the second half, if only he just smashed it in, that would have been superb. And then, of course, we had further changes on 78 minutes. El Mashin came back. I didn't think he was coming back for this game. I thought it might have been another game or two before we saw him back. But it's absolutely fantastic that he's back. And you started to see the pivot with Rodriguez in the middle of the park, which made it a little bit more solid. We were 2-0 up at that time. Time to shut up shop. And in the final few minutes, a few more changes. Todibo came on and Cresswell came on, etc. Great performance, great substitutions, great movement, great team effort. Everything about it clicked. Okay, Crystal Palace, I expected more from them. In the first half, quite frankly, they could have been a couple of goals up. I think Eze, he hit the bar, and there was a good save from Areola early in the first half. They hit the post as well, etc. It's quite possible, a bit like Aston Villa the week before, where they could have been 3-0 up after half-time. That's what we now need to focus on. We now need to focus on that first half an hour of a game. Don't give other teams the edge, because we've got Man City next Saturday. You give them half an hour of playing freely, they're going to spank us, aren't they? So that's the bit that we've now got to sort out. But moving on to the next two games, we will see changes now. And as I said in the show I did on Sunday, we're going to start seeing rotation more and more often, not just for cup competitions, but also in the league as well. I've got a few changes in there. I think Wan-Bissaka will start to probably give him a little bit more game time. I think Todibo will start the game on Wednesday. I've got Irving in there, and I've got Guilherme in there. Do I honestly think that both will play? I'd like to think that they will, but I'm not so sure. I think Alvarez will start in order to give him a bit more game time, and then you might see someone like Kudus in the middle. Somerville will start as well. So it'd be good to see a good mixture of players, but I think this is more likely the lineup. I'm sort of dreaming a little bit to want to give Irving and Guilherme game time. They may come on from the bench. But quite possibly Lopetegui might go a little bit stronger, put Paquetá in the middle alongside Alvarez, put Bowen on, put Somerville on, which will allow Kudus to play up front, and our big German up front will play. So I think that is possibly going to be the lineup. It's going to be Wan-Bissaka in goal, Fabianski in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, and Cresswell at the back, with Paquetá and Alvarez in the holding midfield. And then you might see a front line of Bowen, Kudus, Somerville, and Fulkrug up front. But then when it comes to next Saturday, we're going to see something different again. I think you're going to see maybe Somerville dropping back down to the bench. You might see Todibo going back down to the bench. You might see Cresswell back on the bench as well, to allow Emerson to come back in, to allow Mavropanos to come back in, and so forth. What we're going to have to do from this moment on is we're going to have to get accustomed to changes being made on a regular basis. If you listen to the the post-match interview that Lopetegui gave, he not only spoke about the players that played, he not only spoke about those players, he also talked about the players that didn't play. He makes a point of saying this is a squad effort. It's all about the squad. It's not just about the first 11. It's not just about the first 11 plus the subs. It's about the squad. And he talks about the mentality of all of all the players being involved. So that's why I think we're going to start seeing rotations. Well, maybe not. I don't know when. I think we'll see some changes definitely for the cup game. I think we'll see changes for the Man City game coming up, and then we might start seeing rotation here and there. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a bit of a joyride as well, because you never, at one moment to the next, you're never going to, you don't know who to expect to play. Now, I'm not suggesting that the likes of Kudus will be dropped. I'm not suggesting the likes of Bowen will be dropped. But up front, for example, Antonio and Fulkrug may take turns. In the middle of the park, Paqueta. If there's one player that I think could sort of maybe drop down every now and again, it might be Paqueta, in order to allow for that pivot, the Rodriguez and the Alvarez pivot. We're going to see changes. And I don't think we should be upset if we see that, because what Lopetegui has always said, there are different ways to play the game, different formations, different lineups, etc., in order to win a game. So if he thinks we have to go with a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 or a 3-5-1-1, whatever it may be, he will select the relevant team, the relevant players, to accommodate that type of formation and the style of play that he wants us to play. We may play attacking football one time. We may go to long balls. We may go to counter-attacking. But that's the beauty. Isn't that... you remember what we were all saying about David Moyes, a bit one-dimensional, etc. He wasn't always really sort of changing things up. You knew who the first 11 were going to be. You knew it was going to be a defensive 4-2-3-1. How exciting is it now when you're actually an hour before the game, or an hour and 15 minutes before the game, you see the lineup and then you start saying to yourself, right, that's a 3-4-3, or that's a 4-5-1, or that's a 4-4-1-1, or whatever it may be. Exciting times ahead. That's the review. So what else have we got? Well, let's talk about, before I go on to the transfers, I've got to give you a very brief update on the academy, because, boys, we've got some superstars coming out of this academy, but we've always known that, haven't we? First of all, Josh Ajala. Great performance in the 5-1 drubbing of Southampton on Friday night. For those of you who watched the game, this young lad would have caught your eye. 17 years of age, Josh Ajala, who got a brace in that game, and it was a star performance. It was a 5-star performance from the under-21s. Ollie Scholes was put in central midfield, which was new to him. He got 2 goals in that area. He got the first goal on 8 minutes. On 39 minutes, Sean Moore, another excellent midfielder, grabbed our second. And then in the second half, the limelight was on Joshua Ajala. As I said, he bagged 2 goals in 2 minutes, with the second a fine solo effort. Ollie Scholes got our late one, a 4th one, after Southampton. Southampton pulled one back, went up to 4-1, and then but it was Ajala who grabbed the headlines. 17 years of age. He signed his first, we got him from Chelsea last summer. He signed his professional contract in November. And he spent most of last season in the under-18s, where he scored 17 goals in 25 appearances, and that soon elevated him up to the under-21 squad. And Friday's game was his 9th appearance for the under-21s, and he grabbed his first 2 goals for them as well. This could be a player to watch in the future. It's great to see young players when they start playing. When they're not even 18, they start playing for the under-21s, and you start saying to yourself, there must be a good reason. There's a lot of very young players in the under-21 squad, 18-year-olds, a couple of 17-year-olds, a couple of 19, 20-year-olds, and it's good to see. It's good to see. So all fair play to them, and I hope they all do really well. Now, of course, to bring these players into the under-21s, that means players have gone. And players have gone. There's a bit of loan news, as we may have heard tonight. Freddie Potts is en route to Portsmouth. He's signed an extended contract, and he's now en route to Portsmouth to further his learning. It's great to have Potts in the Championship. I think, even though Portsmouth have just won promotion there, I think Potts, if he does well, that really bodes well. He was one of the bright stars in the pre-season. He was one of the better younger players in the pre-season. So we really wish him all the very best. Another player that's gone out on loan, as I'm sure you know, Gideon Kodua. He's returned to Wycombe Wanderers, and he was in the team, but as an unused sub in their 2-0 win over Rotherham at the weekend. Callum Marshall got his second goal for Huddersfield against Shrewsbury, immediately repaid the faith shown in him by being named in the starting lineup. He got the goal on 20th minute, and that was the winning goal for Huddersfield. So well done to him as well. Who else? George Earthy played a cameo role in Bristol City's championship game against Coventry, where they drew 1-1. Earthy was a 78th minute substitute. Patrick Kelly had a very impressive performance at Doncaster Rovers. Kelly put in he's another player to watch out for, a really solid little midfielder. Doncaster beat Morecambe 1-0 in the League Two fixture. Other players, Levi Lang started a game for Cheltenham Town, but it was their second successive defeat, this time to Wimbledon. Other players, Michael Forbes, unfortunately, didn't make not even the bench at the weekend for Bristol Rovers, who were beaten 2-0 by Stockport. And Christian Heggie is still waiting to get his debut at Motherwell. He was an unused sub in the Motherwell's 3-1 win over Hearts. Right, I'm rushing through it, aren't I? Because I do want to sort of talk about transfers, to be honest with you. So let's go into your chat, and then I'll get on to transfer news. Gennaro, good evening to you. Hope you're well. I'm very well. Sincerely hope Abraham is bullshit. It's bullshit. And his injury with his injury record and wages. I keep being told, even though the Italian press are almost desperate to sell him to us, I don't think we're desperate to buy him. I keep being told that there is no interest. Now, I don't know. Maybe there is interest and we're keeping it quiet, but why would you want to? Especially for someone like him. It's, I don't think there's anyone banging the door down to try and sign. There's not a queue of clubs. Greatest of respect to him, but you're absolutely right, Gennaro. His injury record is pretty poor. Usual. Sven, a very laid-back dude. Condolences to his family. Absolutely. Sarif, Kalispera, mate. I hope you're well. Fantastic win. Great win yesterday. Are you a day behind? I mean, I know I'm an hour behind, but you're... Bill, good evening, mate. I hope you're very well. Andrew, Matt, will Sola in JWP out, I think, is probably looking the most likely. I'll explain all when I get to the transfers in a moment. Hammer, if it's Tammy or no other striker, then yeah, defo go for him. He won't be needed every week. I don't think at this moment in time, I don't think we're linked to any other striker apart from Tammy Wynette. Dan, looking forward to the Bournemouth game. So am I. So am I. It'd be good to have a cup run, wouldn't it, Dan? It'd be good to have a cup run. Tony, hopefully we use a sub as Simmers Medical. Eve, hello. Oh, Matt, probably right about Aguerd. Right, also Aguerd on his way, perhaps. Not sure. It's not looking good. Robert, what's going on with Soler? Come to him in a moment. Barry. Good evening, Barry. I hope you're well. You run the month. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Don't get sucked up in the game. No need to listen. There's enough negativity in our lives, to get sucked up in the negativity of football, isn't there? Come on. Football's meant to be about getting you away from all the negativity, isn't it? Danny boy, unfortunately, taken loads of morphine today. Not good. Mate, I'm really sorry to hear that. Good night to you, Danny. I hope you're well, mate. Take care. Take care. We'll see you soon, mates. Good evening, Garino. I hope you're well. Good of you to join. Good evening, Kimbo. How are you? Ronnie, don't fancy Abraham. I don't think anyone does, Bruno, do they? Good evening, Graham. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Great. Good evening, Montana. Stell, what is wrong with Ings and Aguerd? I'll come to them in a moment. What are their reasons for turning down moves? Beats me because they've had a couple of offers and they've turned them down. I don't know what they think is going to happen. Andrew, Ward Prowse, Aguerd, Ings and Cornet will be gone come the end of this window. I'm not as sure about that as you are, mate. Greg, Duran, not Abraham, still got life in it yet. Last gasp loan deal. I think that's gone now. And the reason being is because of the whole Omeridian thing. Now that it's gone, what's all this about? Hang on. What's all this about? Chelsea tried to buy this player, Spanish under-21 international, Omeridian, and they're going to pay 30-odd million pound for him. That fell through. And then other teams were interested. He's gone to Porto for 15 million euros. What? All right, there's a release clause in his contract of 100 million, but that aside, I was told that apparently all Spanish players have release clauses in their contract. But how does it go from offering 35 million to 15 million? You know what? The Premier League, as soon as clubs see Premier League, they go, that's it, Premier League club, add another 10 or another zero onto the price. They'll pay it. They'll pay it. I mean, that's the way it feels, isn't it? Anyway, Christine, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Kim Joe. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Rolly. How are you, mate? And hola to you, Tony. I hope you're well. Mr. Irons, how are you? Great win. And let's hope this is the start of something special. I think it is. Daniela. We have done a lot in this transfer window, and we do have to be careful of FFP and PSR. We do. I mean, you know, whether people think so or not, it's the wages more than anything, because it's not just the transfer fees, it's the wages. We've got a lot of players on big money, really big money. Max, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. I'm very well. I hope you are too. Montana, why are the Italians so insistent on the Abrahams deal? Beats me, because I keep being told it's not happening. So I really, honestly, I'm with you on this, Montana. I really, really don't know. Robert, Sid Vicious died. Rest in peace. Didn't he die? Am I missing something? I probably am, Robert. BJJ, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Yeah, look. Lovely. 296 people watching. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button. Thank you for reminding me, Hammerette. And please do become a subscriber. Costs nothing to become a subscriber. And if you like the content, hit that like channel, hit that like button. And there's a bell notification somewhere that tells you when I'm next on. Sorry to keep repeating myself, but that's for the newbies. Montana, I see boys getting a call from either Everton or Leicester if they continue to struggle. What did I say? And everyone laughed at me. I bet you Moyes will be, actually, I think Everton will be okay, to be honest with you. I think Sean Dyche would do okay. John, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Hack Tom. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining. Mr. Caveman, how are you? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Rani, good evening, mate. Todibo on loan. If Soler is alone, we can't loan Duran. Yes, we can only loan 2 players. It's confusing because I keep hearing different stories. One is like we're going to buy him outright, Soler, and the other one is that we're going to loan to buy. Tony. Now we have Tim. I hope this is the end of throwing away so much money like Cornet, Ings, etc. The FA will not punish City or Chelsea, but they will hit sides like us. I agree with you. They would. They won't go for the big guns, will they? The big money players. They'll go for clubs like us. Montana, we need a backup for centre-back and striker. Will we get them? Let's see. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I'm really worried that we may not. Edward, Moyes is bound to go back to Everton. I don't know if Dyche will fail there, to be honest. Are we looking at any other Premier League, any other players on the free still? No, I think we're done. The only other player was Sergi, can't remember his name, from Barcelona, but I think he's now signed for another Spanish club. Good evening to you, West Ham old man. I hope you're well. Don't worry, mate. I started at 10 o'clock, so you've only missed half an hour. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. Gatesy, good evening, mate. Don't want Abraham. He's injury prone. He is indeed. Garino, Leicester and Everton have also asked about Ward-Prowse. That's interesting. I've not heard that, but that's interesting. Colin, good evening to you. We need to play Todibo and Kilman with Wan-Bissaka working for them. They work as a unit. Todibo will handle Haaland. We will beat Man City. We shouldn't fear them. They should fear us. And when I said about Man City, I've actually no, I haven't got Todibo in there. I thought I had. I thought I put Todibo in there. Let's see. I think I like what I'm seeing from Mavropanos at the moment, to be honest with you. I think he's becoming a lot steadier, and I think that's got a lot to do with Kilman. I like Todibo, though. I agree with you. It's very, very possible. I didn't put the image up. It's very possible we could go 3 at the back on Saturday, and then you will see the likes of Mavropanos, Todibo, and Kilman, and then wing-backs, Wan-Bissaka and Emerson as wing-backs. It's very possible we could do that. Andrew, I don't think Ward-Prowse has been a massive flop, but he's been very underwhelming in my opinion. I think he's actually been a lot better. He's been involved. He was involved last season in something like 15 odd goals, something like that. I think he created 7 and scored 8, something like that. His record is good. But I think we may end up having to sell in order to recoup money, in order to be able to bring other players in. Please forgive me. I can't put all your comments up, so I do try my best, but I'm going to have to skip one or two. Edward, I didn't watch the game, but I watched it back and it looked pretty end to end because of us giving the ball away, not because of Palace creating their own chances. So that's something we might need to sort out. I agree with you. We had, Mavropanos in the early parts of the game was giving the ball away, and so was Paqueta and one or two others, but they smoothed it out. But it took half an hour, just like it did against Aston Villa. It took half an hour for us to settle and really sort of get into the game. Montana, only Souček or Soufal can be in the lineup, not both. Lopetegui might think otherwise, mate. Steve, when was the last time we could say our subs changed the game? Exactly, and they absolutely did. Joel, Stel, what do you think? I like Souček. Look, I know he's Marmite to a lot of fans, but he does a job. And again, I did a show on Sunday. I talked about Souček as the main theme on Sunday. And I talked about what he offers, because he offers something completely different to other players. And he's not the most glamorous of players. He's not the most technical of players. But interestingly, I did a stats comparison of Souček, Paqueta, and Ward-Prowse. And interestingly, now I know people can go, oh, you can't compare Paqueta with Souček. Well, you can. They're all central midfielders, and you've got to look at their stats at face value. Interestingly, Ward-Prowse came out the better of the three in terms of pass completion, pass accuracy, and so on and so forth. Guess who came second? Thomas Souček. He came up ahead of Paqueta. Paqueta, you see, we forgive Paqueta because I get it. And people said when I did the show, commented after it, oh, well, he can do sublime things, Paqueta. So we kind of forgive him because he'll pull off a great pass, just like he did in the final of Prague and all that sort of stuff. Of course he can. And we know that Souček doesn't do that. But Souček does another job, doesn't he? He's very, very different player, completely different player. He's one of those, I called him a disruptor. He's the sort of player that will come on and teams don't like playing against him. He's that lanky, that sort of player that you don't know what you're going to get from him. You know what? He's got more skill than Antonio. We don't diss Antonio in the same way that we seem to diss Souček. Antonio's got no skill. He can't trap a ball, let alone do anything else with it. But for some reason, and I suggested yesterday in the show that I did, I suggested that the reason why some fans have got it in for Souček is because he is the reminder of David Moyes. David Moyes is the one that brought him to the club. And David Moyes picked him regardless. Didn't matter whether he was good, bad, or indifferent. He always seemed to be the first player on the team sheet. And I think, I get it. He doesn't have the skill of Paqueta, and he doesn't have the grace of other players and so on and so forth. And he doesn't have the killer pass in him, but he scores goals. He scored 10 goals last season, which is not bad for a central defense, for a central midfielder. Paqueta got 4 in the league. This is in the league. Paqueta got 4 in the league. 2 were penalties. So he got 2 outfield goals. Souček got 10. So he's got a use. He's got a purpose. He's not the most graceful. He's not the best player in the world. But obviously, we all thought, and I certainly thought, that when Lopetegui came into the club, one of the first players that was going to be dropped was going to be Souček. It seems Lopetegui sees something in him that we don't. And you've got to trust Lopetegui's process. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think we're going to see squad rotation. I think the first 11 will rotate. I think Lopetegui will go, Paqueta will be right for this game. Souček will be right for that game. I think I'll drop this person. I think I'll play a double pivot with Rodriguez and Alvarez, which means that Souček will drop out, or it means Paqueta will drop out, or it means someone else will drop out. At this time, I'm going to play Somerville in the team, which means someone else will drop out. I think we're going to start seeing that. And I think Souček will be picked according to form and according to need. And I think when we play different teams, you'll see Souček starting. Other teams, you may not. He's got a purpose. He's got a use, and he's our disruptor, isn't he? He's our player, and we should back him because he's been a great servant for West Ham United. Over 200 games he's played, 33 goals, 11 assists that he's offered us so far in his career. That's not bad for a player in midfield. Colin, Stel, we won because Loppy changed it. Thank God. Absolutely. And great that he did. Garino. Soler appears to be done. Sounds like club is just putting some stuff in place for the player. Not done yet, as far as I'm aware tonight, Garino. It's not over the line just yet. I'm going to check. No updates. Andrew Silkman looks silky. Absolutely, Andrew. Again, Moyes loves a small squad, doesn't like making loads of signings. Is his modus operandi. And he even said that in that interview he did. He was like, oh, when you got a big squad, mate, you got to manage the squad. That's why you've got a big squad, in order to have options. I think he just wanted his 15, 16 players, and that was it. And he was criticizing our transfer window. Oh, mate. Daniel. Zouma is a medical booked, apparently. Why? How can he pass this one? I really don't understand. I'll come to it in a minute. Actually, you know what? I'll save it. How far behind am I? Oh, a long way behind. So let me go through a couple of more messages. Martin, good evening to you. Everyone, I hope everyone's okay. You're all good, mate. I hope you are, Martin. Great result. Great coverage from the ground and after the game. Thank you very much, mate. Edward, I don't see how we need to sell a few players before we can bring Soler in, because we haven't got the same squad depth as Chelsea. Chelsea with 40 odd players. I mean, good luck to them. I don't know how they're going to explain that one, but there you are. Montana, Stel, are you convinced by Wan-Bissaka's game? I never saw him put in anything below 7 performances. Our defense will be impenetrable. Yeah, I like what I saw. I really did like. I like what I saw in defense, and I like what I saw when he went forward as well. Very, very good. GJ, good evening to you. I hope you're well. I learned this very useful fact today. Arsenal fans stand for intelligence. The I in Arsenal fans stands for intelligence. Steve, Wan-Bissaka must play whenever possible. Releases the right winger in front of him. Gives more confidence to central defenders on his left as well. Absolutely. Stoll, have you had your ears lowered? No, I've got new glasses. New glasses. That's why. And they look a little bit bigger, but they're exactly the same size as the old one. But there you go. No, I haven't had my ears lowered, Hammerette. Zan, good evening. We really need to send Guilherme out on loan to a Portuguese side to give him more playing time and ease him into European football. That's a really good shout, to be quite honest with you. Montana, still. What will the media say if we get at least 5th? They will ignore us and go, it's probably one-off, probably lucky, and won't happen again. Fuck them. Who cares? Who cares what they think? Vinay, I was sick of the low block and using the same 11 players. Now we have an intelligent manager who will use a squad. Absolutely. Let's scroll down. Colin, Stel, you're right. Loppy's a tactician, unlike one-dimensional Moyes. Do forgive me. I can't put up every comment. I'd love if I could, but I can't. It's not worth it. Good evening to you. With Potts, Earthy, and all our younger players, don't expect them to be ever become West Ham players. I don't even know why we bother following their progress, because none of them will ever feature. I don't believe that. I think we've got a new process now. I really like the clubs that we've had our players gone to. I like the fact that Potts has gone to a championship club. I like the fact that Earthy has gone to a League One club. And what's really good about this is that likes of Patrick Kelly, I think Potts will get game time. I think Earthy will get more game time. What was happening before is that we were sending these players out on loan. They weren't even getting game time. It was like, it seemed to be quite random. I think there's a lot more thought that's gone into it. Let's not forget, with Mark Noble, Steiden is also in control of the whole of the footballing spectre now at West Ham United. I think they're sitting there and going, what do we do with this player? Does he go in the first team squad? Have we got room for him? If not, who do we loan him out to? Where does he go? You talk to the clubs that you're going to loan him out to. They're going to go on loan to, and they're going to make sure. I mean, of course, you can't guarantee that they'll get game time, but I think there's a lot more thought process gone into it, mate. I really do. Afternoon to you, Hammer. I hope you're well from sunny LA. Hoping to meet you when I come over, mate. You message us and let us know when you're coming, and we will definitely meet you without a shadow of a doubt. Mark, I think when loaning the youngsters out, there needs to be an obligation to give them. You can't do that. I wish that was possible, but you can't turn around and say they've got to play 10 games, 15 games. It's just not possible, because if they're not playing well, they won't get game time. That way they aren't stuck on the bench and bodes well. But I hope I just explained what I've said about the players going out on loan. A lot more thought process. I like the teams that they're going to. You know, I think last season when we loaned out Marshall to West Brom, for example. West Brom had about three strikers all injured. That's why they got Callum Marshall in. The minute all those players came back in, Callum Marshall wasn't playing. Callum Marshall's gone to Huddersfield Town. He's playing a lot of game time. He's got 2 goals for them already. That's what I want to see. Delton. My team for Bournemouth: Fab, Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, Todibo, Creswell, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Rodriguez, Fulkrug, Bowen, Somerville, 2 Bows. Have you got 2 Bows in the team? Darren, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Wan-Bissaka needs to play most games, in my opinion. Absolutely agree. Ronnie, Aguerd frozen out of match team, so must be on his way out. If anyone wants him, I'm glad, because he supposedly messed us around last season, and we should play. But yeah, he did. And if you look at the team that was selected on Saturday, now I know Ward-Prowse was on the bench, but he didn't come on Saturday at all. So that's the trigger. That's the trigger why I said in the show I did on Sunday that I think he could be on his way out. But you look on the right side, players not selected. No Cornet. All right, Guilherme, I know. Irving, going to come to him in a minute. All right, we've got third choice, West Foderingham. So I'm glad we're only got 1 keeper on the bench rather than 2. And then you got Aguerd frozen out. You're absolutely correct, Ronnie. He messed us around last season. You know, he was unavailable last season, but was available whenever there was Morocco were playing. So I think he's shot himself in the foot. He might, he should have realised that maybe he didn't want to play under Moyes, but he should have realised that changes were coming. And if he'd have behaved himself, he would have been part and parcel of the squad now. Garino, 50% ownership of On Meridian. Porto paid with agreement to increase that over the next 2 years. I didn't know it was 50%, so thank you for telling me that. See, all this, we're not allowed to do that, are we? I didn't think you could only buy part of a player. Let's scroll down. Gennaro. Brian Brobbery of Ajax would be a great addition up front. Scored 18 goals in 30 games. Last season, only 22, and would cost around 35 million. Interestingly, he was rumored to be, we were linked to him earlier in the transfer window. That's all gone quiet. Sometimes when that goes quiet, though, West Ham old man, let's face it, other than Souček, we don't have a player that can run around pointing while avoiding the ball. That's unfair. Sid Vicious died, yeah, but thankfully the Sex Pistols bass players are alive and well. Good evening, Lot of Iron. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, Douglas. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Kenneth. I feel it in not wanting to go is stopping from buying. I feel Ings not wanting to go is stopping us from buying. You're absolutely correct there. Let's scroll down a bit more. Colin, Stell, we need to get a striker imperative. Jimenez, great striker. Cover it back. Heard we are signing Mershin. Yeah. If we sign Soler, we're not getting Mershin, who's just another attacking midfielder. John, back 3 versus City could work, but Kilman moved up into midfield as and when it's appropriate. Otherwise, we'll just be overrunning midfield. Good shout, Chris. Was good to see Lopetegui making changes after an hour. Nice change from the Moisaurus, leaving it to we're 1-0 down. Steve, feel sorry for Ward-Prowse, hung out to dry, not being played in his best position most of the time last season. And yeah, he did well for us. He did well, but I think maybe Lopetegui's sizing it up and going, who is the better player for me? Ward-Prowse, 29 years of age. Soler, 27 years of age. Soler, cheaper. Soler, less money, salary, etc. And could be a player that we could have and we could make money back on. We'll lose money if we sell Ward-Prowse, to be honest. But yeah, I agree with you. Good evening, George. How are you? Looking forward to your chat. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Much appreciated, mate. Let's scroll down. I do apologize for not being able to put up all your comments. Souček made 10 passes all game against Palace. All were under 10 yards. I know, Darren. I'm not saying. I did say he's not our best player in the world without a shadow of a doubt. I did say that. But he still has a use. And it's not up to us. If Lopetegui thinks he has a use, Lopetegui will play him. Michael, people hate that I'm still a Souček man. Paqueta might play a sublime pass, but Souček will win 9 out of 10 battles in the air and on the ground. There you go. Epic. I want to see Andy Irving start on Wednesday. I like to think he will. If we keep him, I think he will get game time. Will he start? Maybe not. But would he come on? Quite possibly. Joe Della, good evening to you, mate. That Soucek goal Soucek scored at Everton last season was quality. That was class. We were on the side watching that, and the way he took it, we were all like, that was Thomas Soucek. That was Thomas Soucek who scored. We were all like, nah, it weren't. Yes, it was. You can do it. Shaky. Every goal Soucek scores is just another state of execution for him. He'd make a half decent sub, but no more, in my opinion. Martin, heard it mentioned on Football Weekly that this morning that Bowen saved the ball boy. Yeah, well, we were there. Well, we were on the side. We didn't see it, but Bowen and Soucek saved the guy. He almost got crushed, the young boy, because the hoarding went through. The fans went to celebrate the goal, and it just gave way, and that poor ball boy was underneath it. Garino, please don't get people don't get that you need 22 quality players to rotate. We moaned about the lack of squad depth when in Europe and the knackered squad. Now we ask who's going to be sold because we have competition. Good point. Let's scroll down a bit more. Delton, I love Pac-Man, but he needs to amend his playing style because some players not alert to his tricks or early passes. Soucek should make more tackles and be more solid in midfield. Early doors, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Garino, hope to see Fulkrug on Wednesday. Somerville on the left with Kudus central or on the right. Rest Bowen, play Kudus in his best position. Absolutely agree. Chris, the glasses look bigger because you've been to the... yeah. Oh, that's what she meant. Of course I've cut my hair. Look at it. You know, I don't have to put any stuff on it now. I could just wake up in the morning and go to work. Well, after a shower, of course. Andrew, love watching Paqueta. He can be infuriating, but he's a special player and the reason why I love football. Colin, Stel, Loppy will not be afraid to drop Paqueta. I agree. Kudus or anyone for that matter. I agree. Is there any chance we can renew Kudus' contract to take sell-on clause to 150 million? I think if we have a really good season this season, I think, or if we're getting halfway through the season, I would fully expect West Ham United to go, Mohammed, we fucked up a little bit, mate. We said 80 million, but let's be honest, you should be 150 million. Are you happy to sign a new deal? And he'll go, no, I'm going. Forget about it. Shaky. Even still, very late show, mate. Very late show, but I explained why earlier. Thank you for Sharky for joining. I hope you're well. Howard, Stell's Monday night and West Ham Wednesday night. West Ham Network, Budgie and Cheeran are the best. Rapidly enjoying your content and guests early. Thank you for that, mate. Much appreciated. Delton, Stell, you're not reading my Bournemouth team properly. I apologise. Put it up again and I'll reread it, mates. Brian, Somerville starts on Wednesday with Kudus in the middle and he will score a brace. I like Somerville. He was upset, apparently, that he didn't get any game time at the weekend. But his time will come. Colin, thank you so much. I never asked for money, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you, mate. Nice one. Brian. Soucek's stock has risen because of the last two games. Loppy might have been showcasing him. Sell him. Soler comes in and he won't play anyone. Anyway, James Ward-Prowse, second backup. Don't know if that's true. Good theory, but I'm not sure. Tony, not many academy players will make it. If any, not many academy players will make it, if any. So you have to get them up to a sellable asset. It's a business, so we need a return on investment on them. Good point. I think one or two might come through. I've got hopes for Earthy. I've got hopes for Marshall. I've got hopes for Kodawa. I've got hopes for Potts. You know, that's four already. And let's, of course, not forget Lewis Orford, who signed his new 5-year deal. He's still playing for the under-21s. He might be another player that might be loaned out soon as well. Andrew, Ollie Scarles apparently is going to be loaned out soon as well. Andrew, I think Aguerd may have been a bit hasty in wanting to leave. Looks like he's made a U-turn with Loppy in charge and the quality of side too late. He's messed it up. You know, he's hammered his own nails into his own coffin. Oh, man, good evening to you, mate. Did anyone else see Kudus' face at final whistle when Loppy approached him? Looked disinterested. I didn't see that, to be honest with you. Someone needs to enlighten me if that really happened. I've almost caught up and then I'll go into transfers. Stel, do you, from Gatesy, Stel, you just made my night by saying Abraham to the Hammers is not true. Gennaro saying Brobbery, I agree with him. Brobbery, I did talk about him about a month or so ago, but it's all gone quiet. Who knows? Usual. I think the only way to stop Haaland Saturday is to kneecap him in the car park. I think you're right. Okay, let's go into transfer news, shall we? I always do that because I need a drink, and it's no good me drinking in front of you. I'm not on about beer or anything. I'm just water, fizzy water gets me going. Right, transfer rumors roundup. There's so much to say. Right, as we know, Kurt Zouma is in Saudi Arabia. He's due another medical. Now, the club he's having a medical at is called Al Aruba. Al Aroba, Saudi Pro League team that's newly promoted, and we're kind of fingers crossed here. I mean, how many of you, hands up, how many of you think he's not going to pass his medical? That's two of you at least. I just don't think he will. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But he's out in Saudi Arabia looking to pass a medical for newly promoted Saudi Pro League club Al Aroba. So let's see what happens there. Now, as I reported last week and again on Sunday, there's a big chance that quite possibly James Ward-Prowse could be leaving the club. Now, he was an unused sub in the 2-0 win over Crystal Palace. And with the imminent announcement of Carlos Soler, it's widely accepted that West Ham not only have to free up space in the squad, although at this stage, like I said a moment ago, earlier on, without Zouma there, there's already a free space in the squad. We've got 24 players without Zouma. But more importantly, it's to free up money, it's to free up wages and bring money in order to cover the cost for Soler's arrival. Nottingham Forest are rumoured to be interested in the player, with West Ham probably going to be demanding up to about £25 million for him, for the 29-year-old. He's got 3 years remaining on his contract and is on about £115,000 a week. As I said earlier on, Soler coming in will cost us about 18 million pounds. So basically, we'll make a bit of money back if we sell Ward-Prowse, even though we would have lost on the money that we paid for him this time last summer. But at the same time, 115 grand a week, with Soler being on something like 70, 80 grand a week, give or take, we can save a little bit of money there as well. Now, Maxwell Cornet and what's his name? Aguerd have been offered loan deals. Now, at this moment in time, I don't know any updates about Cornet. All I know is that there have been offers have gone in for Cornet and offers that have gone in for Aguerd. Aguerd, my understanding is, has turned down several deals to leave West Ham United. Whether they're permanents or whether they're loans. Wolfsburg is the latest club in Germany that he's turned down. He's apparently turned down Lens in France. I think Nantes was another club in France that he may have turned down. One or two others. I don't know what it is. And apparently a Spanish club as well, which some people think is Atletico. I don't know what Aguerd's expecting. I think Aguerd thinks he's going to PSG or Barcelona or Real Madrid, or a club like that. And it seems to him that going to any other club, like Wolfsburg or a Lens or whatever, are a bit beneath him. He ain't going to play. It's going to be very difficult for us because we need to bring in a defensive midfielder. We need to bring in a central defender, but at the same time, we need to let go of Aguerd. Now, at this moment in time, with Aguerd, we've got 4 central defenders. We've got Todibo, we've got Mavropanos, we've got Kilman, and we've got Aguerd. Now, if Aguerd goes, we will go and get ourselves another central defender. But if he doesn't, we're stuck with him. And I don't really know just how much game time Aguerd is going to get. It could become a point where if we don't manage to if he doesn't go in this summer transfer window, I think when he realizes that he really isn't going to be used, he may be more keen to go on loan or be sold in the January transfer window when that opens. Look, These players, there's also Ings turned down moves as well. Danny Ings, earlier on in the summer transfer window, turned down a move to return to Southampton. I'm not aware of the other team that he's turned down. It could be, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be a team like Everton that may have gone in for him. So these players are turning down these offers. Now, when it comes to Aguerd, like I said, we might just hang on and let him go in the January window, because when he realizes he's not getting game time, that's what will probably happen. When it comes to Danny Ings, if he doesn't go, we're all very serious about severing his contract and throwing it away and going, there's your payoff, off you go, in order to get him off our books. Now, I've worked out on 125 grand a week, give or take. I've worked out that between now and the end of June, it will cost West Ham United about £5.5 million to pay him off. Now, you never pay off a player for the full amount of money that he earns, so it might come to 4.5 million. Say you're not going to play, off you go, and then that will obviously free up space in the squad. And then if it's too late for us to get a player in this transfer window, yet again, we'll be looking to do business in January. I don't understand what it is that Aguerd and Danny Ings want. Now, the Ings offer, the Southampton offer earlier in the summer transfer window was, you go, we'll sub, because they couldn't pay him the 100 odd grand, 125 grand a week that he earns. West Ham United were prepared to subsidize his wages. So he wouldn't have actually missed out. He wouldn't have lost out on it. He would have still been paid the 100 odd grand a week that he's getting. But he refused to go. Aguerd has been refusing to go. That creates a bottleneck in our squad. And not so much for size of the squad. Like I said, without Zouma, we've only got 24 anyway. I think 24, maybe even 23 without Zouma there. But what it does do, it creates a bottleneck with our wages. And it's becoming a problem because the Soler deal is more or less done. The Soler deal is kind of like waiting to happen. But we can't bring him in until one of these players goes. Now, we thought that maybe it would have been the likes of Zouma and Aguerd and someone like Ings going. But what it's looking like now, and Cornet as well, but what it's looking like now is we may have, I'm not so sure whether Lopetegui would have actually wanted Ward-Prowse to leave. You know, I think maybe he would have seen him as a valuable squad member. And, you know, if you got rid of Cornet, if you got rid of Aguerd, you got rid of Zouma, etc., you're getting rid of the players that you want to move on, you know, and those players, Zouma, 100 grand a week, Cornet, 70 grand a week, Aguerd, 70 odd grand a week as well. You know, that's a lot of money. Danny Ings, 125 grand a week. Well, let's count that up. 100, 225, about 370 grand a week in wages that you will save by getting those four players to leave. And I think if we manage to move those players on, there's still time. There's still time. If we manage to move those players on, I don't think we'd be looking at moving James Ward-Prowse on. I think he's the victim of circumstance. I think the preference will be to let Cornet go, Aguerd go, Ings go, etc. But it's not working out that way. All these players, I mean, Cornet, he's got 3 years left. Ward-Prowse, he's got 3 years left. Aguerd, he's got 3 years left as well. Danny Ings is the only one. Danny Ings and Kurt Zouma have got 1 year, just under a year left on their contracts. But you can understand why you'd want to move these players on. If you can't move them on now, what's going to happen? You know, they're going to eat up more and more of the wages budget. You know, so there's a real desire to see the likes of Cornet and Aguerd leaving, as well as Ings, as well as Zouma. What about Andy Irving? Well, if we manage to move the likes of Cornet on, etc., I think Andy Irving stays and he becomes a squad member. Let's not beat around the bush. He's a cheap option. And I don't mean that in a belittling way, but his wages are probably around 25, 30 grand a week. So he's not a big drain on the wage resource. You know, and I can see quite possibly someone like Irving maybe staying and being a squad member. But it's evident that we're having problems getting the players in we need because we cannot shift the players that we need to shift. Now, What's going on? Well, Carlos Soler is close. I think Garino said it earlier. The deal's on the table, but it's not being pushed through. I'm confused, and someone could tell me what the latest that they've heard. But my understanding is that we originally wanted to buy him. Now it's looking like we may not buy him, and we're going for the loan deal, loan with an obligation to buy. Now, if we do get him on a loan deal, that's it. We can't get another player in on loan. So Lopetegui has apparently spoken directly to the player. He's happy to join the club, but it's just a matter of this removing this bottleneck. Everton apparently are interested, but he's not interested in going to a club like Everton. Trevor Chalobah. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure about Chalobah. It's a little bit like Tammy Abraham. A lot of injuries he had last season, missed most of last season because of a big injury. But it's gone a little bit quiet about his deal for him. But he could end up being a last-minute purchase if Aguerd and Zouma go. With other clubs apparently showing late interest in him too. I think Palace might be interested. Of course, there's all the thing about Guehi and whether he goes or not. And Chalobah could be a good replacement. Tammy Abraham. I keep being told there is no interest in Tammy Abraham, despite the Italian papers like saying it on a daily basis, several times a day, that apparently he's coming to West Ham United. Now, according to which paper you read or which social media column you read, his value is anything between 20 to 30 million pounds. Now, Roma want to get as much money back on the player as possible. I think they paid 35 million or something for him a couple of seasons back. He's had a big injury as well. They want to recoup as much as they can. I don't believe that we are going in for Tammy Abraham. We keep being told that there's no interest. But what's interesting is, and I know apparently Saudi clubs are potentially looking at him, but he's not been sold. He's been left out of matchday squads again against Liverpool as well as against Crystal Palace the week before. Apparently he wants up to 250 grand a week. Apparently there's potential interest in Saudi clubs. But at this moment in time, no one has made a bid, as far as I'm aware, for Ivan Toney. Watch out for that. It could be one of those where we just go, here's 25 mil. You want to take him or lose money on him completely? Let's see what happens there. And this has come back. Eddie Nketiah, from Arsenal, apparently valued at 25 million pounds, 25 years of age. He's got a contract till 2027. Apparently, Crystal Palace have an interest in him, and so do we. He was on the bench for the first 2 games of the Arsenal game. He's a talent, but not likely to get a lot of game time at Arsenal. He can play as a striker. He can play along the front line. And maybe, if we're not getting Soler in, could it be a loan to buy for Nketiah? I think we just have to wait and see. It's all up in the air at the moment. It's the bottleneck that's creating this issue. What do I want? I think we need, if both Zouma and Aguerd do go, we definitely need another centre-back. Goes without saying. And the interesting thing about Chalobah is he can also cover at right back if need be. So good versatility there. If one of our central midfielders goes, if someone like James Ward-Prowse goes, plus maybe Cornet, etc., then yes, we need another player in, and it will be Soler. And then up front, if Danny Ings does, if we do pay Danny Ings off, then I've got a feeling we've got someone lined up. And why not someone like Toney or Nketiah or any other player? I don't think it's going to be Merchin, because he's just another attacking midfielder. Right. What's your comments? Let's see what you think. Scroll down. Garino, according to one ITK, money is not the issue with bringing in Soler, just squad places. We've got squad places. I'll go in. This is the best I can offer because I didn't put I should have done a squad up. So you got your 11 players. You got 9 subs there. So that's your 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We've got 24 players in the squad. That's without Zouma and that's without Guilherme. You do not have to name Guilherme. We've only at this moment in time got 24 squad players. I count them again. 11 on the pitch, 9 subs. There's your 20. And then you've got Foderingham, Aguerd, Irving, and Cornet. That's 24. So there's already space in the squad. There's one place available in the squad. So my understanding is, yes, it'd be nice to free up more places, but at the same time, my understanding is more about money than it is about squad places. There's 24 already there, and that's without Zouma. Of course, if Zouma doesn't go, I don't think we're going to keep Zouma. I think we might do the same as we might be planning to do with Danny Ings and pay off the final bit of his contract and let him go in order to free up the squad place. Andrew, Bowen and Kudus both prefer playing on the right. One of them has to miss out, which is problematic for Lopetegui. Kudus can also play in the middle. And I think throughout some games, I think you might see Zouma. Zouma. I think you might see Kudus playing in the middle at times. Rani, if James Ward-Prowse goes, how are we on homegrown players? Absolutely fine, because I kept this up. So let's count them. We've got Creswell, that's 1. You've got Wan-Bissaka, that's 2. Let's not count Ward-Prowse. You've got Somerville, that's 3. Yep, Somerville. Didn't realize this, but apparently last week we told Somerville is homegrown. At this moment in time, Danny Ings, that makes 4. And then you've got Bowen, that's 5. Antonio, that's 6. Irving doesn't count. Oh, we need 8. Am I missing some? Oh, now that's interesting, Rani. I thought we had more than enough. West Foderingham, that's 1. Antonio, that's 2. Bowen, that's 3. And Kilman, that's 4. Didn't count him before. Creswell, 5. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that's 6. Somerville, 7. Danny Ings, 8. So without Ward-Prowse, if the other players stay, that's 8. But you're absolutely right. If Ings goes, that's down to 7. And then we'll have to get another homegrown in. Maybe that's why someone like Chalobah is being rumoured to be linked. I believe Nketiah is homegrown as well. So there might be a reason why he might be linked as well. And there might be a reason why Ivan Toney might be linked as well. Thank you for that. You got me thinking there, mate. Garino, play Kudus central. He said it's his best position. Ghana fans say it's his best position as well. Absolutely. Mark, both our goals at the weekend came from quick passing out of defence on the deck. So why did we keep hoofing it long? Different ways of playing the game. Garino, Aguerd wants to stay and fight for his place. I do not think he'll get much game time. But great. I mean, if that's what he wants now, great. But let's see what happens. He may have burnt too many bridges. Colin, I'm hearing from my friend who works in City. They keep telling me that there'll be takeover bids coming before the end of the year. For West Ham, we've been looking for buyers for quite a while just to buy. I can't remember how long ago I said this, but some time ago I said that West Ham were thinking about offering 25% of shares, which would have meant Sullivan reducing his shares. The other one, the Czech reducing his shares as well, in order to accommodate, as well as the 10% that we've got from the other shares that are available. But at this moment in time, I don't know how true that is. Be interesting. I hope it ain't Americans. They'll fuck it all up for us. Gutta, good evening to you. If Ward-Prowse and Ings go, we'll be below the homegrown quota. So Ward-Prowse out and Soler in may not happen. Well, yeah, thank you. What's his name? Just reminding me of that. So we would have to bring in another homegrown player if 2 go. Because at the moment we've got 9. We'd be down to 7 if they both go. Garino, James Ward-Prowse won't leave unless a good bid comes in. The club do not want to sell him. I agree. I don't think the club wants to sell him. Who are in? Leeds or Burnley are in for who? You need to tell me. Is that Cornet? Will he drop will he drop down to the Championship? I don't know. I heard yesterday that both Jude Bellingham and Conor Gallagher have both obtained Irish passports so they can qualify as EU players. Really? Delton? I don't think that works like that, does it? Delton, I think Aguerd may still have a place because he's better than Mavropanos and covers the left. He's quick. We need strength in depth if we have any hope of qualifying for Europe. Interesting. I don't know. I'd like to think that. I thought Aguerd was just perfect. for Lopetegui. I said that. I thought the style of football that Lopetegui wants to play, I thought Aguerd would be good. But I think maybe he's just blown it a little bit. But I could be wrong. Montana. These players are just holding us hostages as bitter exes. I have a feeling Moyes is in the air, in their ears. Come and leave our club now. Chris, difference between Ings and Aguerd is Danny has said he wants to stay and fight for his place. Aguerd doesn't. See, someone heard that he does. Someone else has heard that he doesn't. Old man, JWP for Everton when Moyes becomes a new boss, and Souček as well, quite possibly, undoubtedly. Would I let Alvarez go? Absolutely no. No. Why? Why would we want to let Alvarez go? There's no rhyme or reason to do so. Martin, central defenders were mentioned earlier in the show. How good is Kilman going to be? Personally, I think he's been terrific. Absolutely. And he's only going to get better. Montana, West Ham must be so fun being at. All people don't want go, just chill and vibes. Rani, depending on who you believe, Ings is on anything from 80 to £225,000 a week. My understanding is it's over 100. And I believe the 125 is when a whole load of bonuses come in. So I don't think it's as low as 80, but I think he's on minimum 100. Usual. Bamford is washed up at Leeds. Wouldn't be surprised if Ings went there. Would he drop a league? Can they afford his wages? Scott, having actual choices off the bench is good. Wouldn't it be nice to have options in Europe last season? Agree. Martin, Ivan Antonio has huge wage demands. He's quite old and injury prone, apparently. Yeah. And Ketia going to Palace. Yeah, it's either us or there. I don't know yet, but it could be. And Ketia has got Palace written all over it. Old man, Tony and Paqueta running club sweepstakes. Let's scroll down a little bit. Garino, Zouma ain't gone yet still. Just small issue with his medical. I don't think he'll pass it. And if he doesn't, like I said earlier on, I think we're going to do what we're planning to do with Ings and pay him off and just get him off the books. Montana, Stel, will you have a transfer deadline stream on Friday? I don't know. Everyone does it, to be honest with you, mate. You know, I'll be competing with about 10 other channels. Do you want one? Say yes or no in the chat and I'll decide later. Say yes, transfer deadline stream, no transfer deadline stream, and I'll make a decision. Andrew, think we need to do much better than Nketiah? I don't mind Nketiah as a backup. He may not be too bad, but maybe Nketiah coming to West Ham might be thinking, I want to be a starter. He might get a starting berth at Palace. Melissa, good evening to you. I just dislike seeing Kudus out on the left. I don't like it either, to be honest with you. But as I said earlier in the show, if you notice what was happening in the first half, especially in the first half of the game against Palace, he started out on the left, and then you found him in the middle, then you found him out on the right, and Bone was in the middle, and you found Antonio on the left, etc. They were switching around, and I think that's what's maybe, because I'm with you. I don't like it. I want to see Somerville out there and I want to see Kudus in the middle. But who drops out for that? With Alvarez coming back in as well. Scott, shaky, like Stel said, we'll probably see Somerville, Fabs, and lesser used players will start. Yes, the game against Bournemouth, the team I'd like to see start will be this: Wan-Bissaka, Fabianski in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, Creswell, Irving, Alvarez, Guilherme, Kudus in the middle, Somerville, and then Fulkrug. I think the team that will, that's what I would like to see start. I think the team that will start is Paqueta will probably come in, Bowen will probably come in with Irving and Guilherme on the bench. But I'd like to see Guilherme and Irving get game time if the game is going well. Colin, Stel, my sources tell me Loppy likes solid. So yeah, he absolutely does. I said in the slide I put up, you know, apparently my understanding is he's spoken directly to the player and he wants him to come to West Ham. Chalobah will be a great backup. Apart from his injuries, a little bit like other players that we mentioned, like Tammy Abraham, etc. But Chalobah, that's maybe another reason why Tammy Abraham, like I said, is being linked to us, because he's homegrown. Melissa, shouldn't this be the time to start Fulkrug? I agree. I think he will start on Wednesday and stake a claim for a place on Saturday. Tony, Eddie is a failure for Arsenal, so no way we should pay 5 million for him. Let them be stuck with him. Platinum Finger, good evening to you. I have a festering dislike of Danny Ings since he got Mark Noble sent off during our 3-0 hammering of Liverpool in 2015. He dived and scored like a baby. Replay showed that there was no contact. You don't hold a grudge then, do you, mate? Colin, still they tell me likely to be American and Middle East money. I don't want American money at West Ham. I really don't. I really don't. It depends on what sort of American owners you end up getting. Andrew, offer Forrest Ings and Ward-Prowse plus 10 million in swap deals for Gibbs White. No one's taking Ings. Oh, well, let's see. Mark, would love to draw against Millwall in the third round of Carabao Cup if we beat Bournemouth and Millwall beat Leyton Orient. Oh, the rucks there. Garino, still rumours of a left field signing on a permanent deal for around about 40 million. Clock is ticking, so though I guess it depends on shifting the player. Acolyte Soler, 40 million. I doubt it very much, unless, of course, we recoup. Now, Soler will cost us between 17 to 20 million, and another 40 million. That's 60 million. If we're shifting 60 million pounds worth of players in the next 4 days, then I agree with you. But other than that, I cannot see it, mate. To be really honest with you, no, isn't it? Transfer deadline day is Friday, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Isn't it the last day of August? Yes. Okay. Anyone else saying no? Yes. No transfer deadline. I'm watching the other lads. There you go. See? Yes, transfer deadline. Everyone else. Yes. It seems that it's going to be yes, defo. Okay. It looks like I'm doing a transfer. But 31st of August, isn't it? Someone tell me I'm wrong. I thought it was 31st. I thought it was 31st of August, which is this weekend, this Friday. No? Correct me if I'm wrong. Old man. Areola, Emerson, Kilman, Tadibo, Wan-Bissaka, Alvarez in front, then push forward, Kudus and Paqueta, Bone on the right, Sunderland on the left, Fulcrook in the middle. Say no to the K-Boys. I say nay. Gary, come on still. Us Americans aren't so bad once you get to know us. No, I don't mean it about you, mate. I'm talking about owners. It worries me if we get American owners. It would actually worry me. Garino, Stel Soler will be a loan, so any cost put it off till next year. Good point. But like I said earlier on, Garino, it's not just good point about the fee. Yeah, it'll be held off till next season, but it's also about salaries, is what I'm told. I'm guessing Rosemary and Thyme won't be on the list, Lord Els, from James. Don't know what he's talking about. Oh, you're on about kiddies programs again. Scott, I think we can take a draw, City. We'll trouble them for sure. I'm looking for a win. We can always sign players on loan with obligation to buy, pay the transfer window next budget, but we need to get players off the wage bill. Brian, not that you have anything against us personally, right? I didn't mean it in that way. You know I didn't mean it in that way. Saturday is the last day of August. August 30th at 11 o'clock. Friday. Well, someone's going to have to tell me what day it is. I'll look it up. Okay. A lot of you have said yes. So I'll look it up and I'll go on. 30th. It is Friday to bring it in line with European. 30th of August. People are telling me different things. Friday. Saturday is the last day of August. Okay. So it's Friday then. I'll check it and I'll do a show. I'll do a late Friday night show. Why not that? I mean, it'll finish at 11 o'clock anyway, but we can go on and talk about shit afterwards. Obsidian. I don't want owners who say West Ham. It's West Ham. Bloody Yanks should learn proper English. Everyone's saying it's Friday, so okay, it's done then. I'll do it on Friday. And it's Friday at 5 o'clock is Crackerjack Day. I've reached the end. Big yes to a transfer window deadline show with Masuak, who has a guest. Daniel, it's Friday to align with Europeans. And okay, Friday is then. Looks like I'm doing a Friday show. You all better come on and watch it. I'm not going to be talking to myself just because you're all watching other channels. Late Friday, I'll be pissed. That's it. I'm getting you on as a guest then. I've reached the end, an hour and 24 minutes. And thank you all for watching. There's still 300 people watching. If you're new to the channel and if you've enjoyed it, please do become a subscriber of the channel. Costs nothing to do so. Content is all free. Please do hit the like button as well, because when you hit the like button, sends all the algorithms going mad and the channel gets noticed, etc. 30th of August still is at 11 o'clock. I'll be on. I'll be on, and we'll do it. We'll do a transfer window show on Friday. I'll get a few guests on as well. We can talk about the transfers that we've already got, and we can talk about the transfers that we're not going to get. Thank you all very much for watching. Really appreciated. We'll be back to normal time next week at 9:15-ish rather than 10 o'clock. I really appreciate you watching. Really appreciate you sticking with me. And yeah, have a good week. Short week for us here in the UK. I don't know about you Yanks, but who cares about you lot? As they say, speak proper and you'll be all right. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.